With you and excited, alive, and full of energy. All right, here we go. Hopefully, you are having an extraordinary start to the week, and it is going to be a very, very, very good week. Just expanding here my view of all you guys just really quick. There we go. All right, excellent. Okay, all right. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So one of the things I've appreciated just from a company standpoint is just the number of homes that are being sold. One of the things I always want to know is are we like on the right track as an organization? And the fact is that I would arguably say that yes, we are on the right track. And what I mean by that is we sold 199 homes last month. We sold 199 homes the month before, which is hilarious. I mean, never in company history have we sold exactly the same number in a given year. And not only that, but we've never sold the exact number also 2 months in a row. But basically 200 homes. Give you perspective, 200 homes, about 1,000 homes, give or take, across the Wasatch Front here, specific Salt Lake County. Good stuff happening from the standpoint. Now, look, as I had a conversation this morning with an agent, and one of the key things that I recognized was the fact that he said, gosh, I want to sell more. And I said, boy, you absolutely should be selling more real estate, right? Which I know every single one of you want to sell more real estate. You want to earn more money, which of course is the byproduct from the sales. But with that being said, I want you to just realize there's one of my favorite examples of this is way back in the day, I used to climb the mountain Kings Peak. And some of you heard this, I won't belabor this one, but we climb up the mountain. And if you climb up the mountain, the final 1,000 feet of Kings Peak, which is 13,568 feet, it's an epic journey. The shortest way into it is 19 miles of hiking and climbing. I've done it in one single day round trip. That was quite an experience. Hiking 38 miles in one day. I've done it to where I've stayed overnight. I've stayed multiple days. I've stayed an entire week in the area. I've done lots of different ways to approach this mountain. But having done it so many times, as we're going up, there's all these false peaks that are there. And every time everyone thinks oh my goodness, I'm at the top. I'm at the top of this 19-mile journey and the final ascent of it all as you're scrambling up these rocks. As you're doing that, you hit the first peak, I always get whoever I'm with at that time to stop. And I say, look, although you're not at the top, and usually the wind is howling, it's very seldom the wind is not howling, and you're almost at the top, and there we are. We're on the first false peak. There's actually three of them. The first one is not really, you realize, oh wait, there's a long ways still to go. But the second false peak, you're thinking, I've arrived. And then you realize you're not. But even then, you realize you can see the top. And the one that you do see that you think is the top is legitimately the top. So it's not much further. But on that second false peak, I have everybody stop and I say, let's turn around and look how far you've come. And I think that there's something to be said by that. I think there's something to be said by the fact of you just taking a step back and asking yourself, how far have you come? And reflecting on that. I mean, you look at some of you have gone through major relationship challenges in life. Some of you have gone through major health challenges, and those that you love who have had challenges. You've gone through economic challenges. You've gone through all of these different challenges in your life. And in the nature and the process of all of that, the fact of the matter is that you've made it. You've made it through every bad day, tough day, and here you are. So as you move through your life, just for once in a while, take a moment. We often are so fixated on where we're going, and we sometimes even forget where we are. And we often don't forget how far we've come. In fact, usually when we think about the past, we're thinking about a lot of the negatives. We're thinking about a lot of the challenges. We're thinking about a lot of all the setbacks. We're talking and thinking about all the things we should have done, didn't do, wish we had done, why we made those choices, why we made those mistakes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how far you've come, how far ahead you have gone in relationship to your life. And just remember that you have come a long ways. No matter how far you've come, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you've made it to this point. So with that, I want to just, that kind of puts us into the frame. I have written so much these last several days, even in my journal, guys. I actually just filled it up. I gotta either get a filler or I'll start with a new one. I've got a number of journals that I had to pull out, but that are blank. But I've been doing a lot of writing, and I've been doing a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking, a lot of it this weekend even. Even yesterday, I spent and wrote, gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages in my journal yesterday. And I have to tell you that it made me reflect. And you know how I feel about journals and the importance of them, and the importance of expressing yourself. It's where you keep score. It's where you get your thinking clear. It's where you're able to question yourself or ask yourself questions. It's a very, very powerful place to work from. And even this morning, as I've been back in my journal, I wrote another couple of pages this morning. I went back and read what I had written these last few days. And one of the things that I concluded on was this, and this is not a new concept for any of you, especially if you and I have spent some time together. It is not new. But here's just a thought and a twist on just basically a single statement, but 2 little twists on it. And here it is. Number 1, and I hope that you're taking notes, or boy, I hope if you're driving along here, I sure hope that you're remembering this statement, and that is this: my current circumstances, and I'll tell you, this is what I was writing about. My current circumstances do not equal my future. The twist on it is also this: my past, because whatever happened yesterday or this year, that's your past. Your past does not equal your future either. Now, typically, when I say your past or your current circumstances do not equal your future, that's probably a fair statement. But it also, most people only focus on it when it comes to the negative. If you're in a challenging moment of life, you're thinking about the negative and thinking, man, I hope this doesn't equal my future. But I'm looking at this list of people on this great call, because I'm looking at the April Oaks, I'm looking at people like a Tyler Higgins and others that have earned a lot of money this year. Well, just guess what? To even those 2 and others, your past doesn't equal your future. So years ago, when I was playing basketball as a young man, I tried out for the basketball team as a sophomore. Actually, how about this? I'll go back even a year further. I tried out for basketball in my 9th grade year. I didn't make the team. In fact, if you can see this, I usually shoot now like this, but when I was in 9th grade, I had somehow put the ball over here and I'd shoot like this. No one had taught me what it would be, might quote, the fundamentals of basketball. So in 9th grade, I didn't make the basketball team, but boy, did I love basketball. But I switched my hand. I started shooting a little better, and a coach gave me some insight when I was in 9th grade, and I figured, okay, here we go. I'm going to go try out for the team in 10th grade. So in 10th grade, I try out for the basketball team, and guess what? Again, I don't make it. Well, at that moment, I did not say that my current circumstances or my past does not equal my future, but it incited me. And I think any of us could relate that moment of failure where you don't just tuck it in and say, okay, well, I guess it's just not for me. It inspires you. It motivates you. It creates some level of passion, which is this passion. The definition is a combination of, or at least my definition, I should say, a combination of anger and desire is passion. So I was passionate. I'm like, I am going to make the team in my 10th grade year. And here's this little guy, or I guess I was probably a pretty big guy, 10th grade, trying out, and Coach Paul Jepson is the coach. And Paul Jepson, believe it or not, I still remember, you go look on the locker room or the coach's office in the locker room, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this list, and there, behold, is the name of George Morris. In his sophomore year, he makes it. Now you think, man, the rest is history. Look what you did. Your past doesn't equal your future. Look at, you made the team. You're doing so good. But hold the horses. In fact, I played so well my second or third game into my sophomore year. They put me in on against Brighton High School. So if you're a Bengal, I crushed you in my sophomore year. And I went and played basketball at Brighton High School, and I had the best game of my life. I think it was the second or third game. Well, after that game, they said, George, you're our guy. And they said, you're going to suit up for junior varsity. So there I am, sitting on the sidelines, got a little bit of play here and there as a junior, but I went from my sophomore games, then to my junior games, and then I even got to suit a few games for varsity. Now, again, in that world of high school, that was the thing. That was like, I mean, I had gone and died and gone to heaven. I was dialed in. Life was so beautiful. And then the season was over. Well, I just thinking and reflecting back, I took the summer off. I messed around. I played soccer also at the same time. I played with my buddies. I didn't go to any camps. I didn't really practice. I just kind of thought I was good enough. And lo and behold, now imagine I make the sophomore team. I make the varsity team. I get a jersey. I get to sit even, and I don't play any in the varsity. But I thought I had arrived. I was there. Tryouts my junior year. I go try out. Lo and behold, they say, you know what? It's come down to two people, but only one of you can make the team. We're not sure who's going to make it. Guess what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to allow you two to practice, me being one of the two, in my junior year. One of the two of you is going to practice all week with us, and we'll decide who's the best fit for the team. Well, at the end of the week, I got my arm put around me by Coach Jepson, who said, we love you. We're grateful for you, but it looks like, we're going to choose this other guy in so many words, and you didn't make the team. I was mortified because I have to believe that even though I wasn't this conscious of it, but I bet you I was doing these things, that I thought that my future was set, that truly I was going to make the team. That was an automatic. I mean, how could I not make the team? This is the guy dressing for varsity, only one of two sophomores that did. I was the guy who got to suit a few games for varsity. I was playing a few JV games, but I lost the one fundamental that I didn't realize was necessary. I wasn't growing. Oh, I may have been growing in height and stature, but I was not growing. There was no growth. I stopped growing. And although I had done well in my sophomore year, I didn't grow at all for the year after that. So here's the question. No matter where you are in this game, because your past doesn't equal your future if you're doing really well, and even if you're not doing well and your current circumstances are struggling, even your current circumstances don't equal your future. So what's the ingredient for success? Whether you've had success or you are having no success economically, what's the ingredients? Well, I can tell you what it is. It was a hard lesson to learn. It is the fundamentals. The fundamentals are core to every sport and to every piece of business. And sometimes we think, I've arrived. I don't need to practice. I don't need to show up at meetings. I find it fascinating how few people even today showed up at the morning meeting in relationship to after the summit last week. I think it's fascinating that people think one time is enough. But then there's some of you who did show up, and I'm proud of you. Good job. What does it mean to have the fundamentals? I wrote down my fundamentals yesterday in my journal. Today, I wrote down my fundamentals of knowing what I needed to do in my phone in my notes section. So here's the question. What are your fundamentals? What do you believe is fundamental to your success? What does that look like? What is it that you need to be doing? What is it you need to be participating in? What is it that you need to be watching? What is it you need to be doing? Well, I want to give you some insight. The rest of my time today, I'm going to give you what I would consider those fundamentals. I'm not going to give you my fundamentals because they're a little bit different, but not much. Just a little different. Not much, though. Not much. So let's talk about these fundamentals for a minute. All right, I'm going to give you a list of what I consider to be the most important things that you will learn to succeed in this business. Now, these aren't new, but when your income or your growth is not fast enough or where you want it to be, then here's the answers to the test. In fact, last Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, whenever it was, Jeremy was talking about the fact of a gentleman that we both know, and he would say these words: I'm going to give you the answers to the test. Here's the answers. Now, you may not like the answers. You may not want to do the things in regards to what the answers are, but nevertheless, they are the answers. They are the answers to the test of the fundamentals, the test of making sure that your past or your current circumstances don't equal your future. That's what I'm going to give you. That's the whole point. That's the whole directive behind everything that we're doing. All right, so here we go. Number one, fundamental, above all fundamentals, is purpose and meaning. It is to have a purpose behind what you do. Now, look, that's not a new concept to any of you. But if it's a fundamental, of course you've heard about it. I talk about it all the time. But what is your driving purpose? And a question you might want to consider asking yourself is this: what gives my life purpose? What is it that gives your life purpose? How purposeful are you? How directed are you? How meaningful is your day in regards to your purpose? Are your conversations meaningful because there's purpose? Are your door knocks meaningful and purpose? Are your practice and your rehearsing, internalizing, and meetings purposeful? Do you walk down the hallway purposeful? When you have purpose, you speak, you act, and you do things differently. That's what purpose gives you. But when you have no purpose, you eat whatever you want to eat. When you have no purpose, you prospect whenever you want to prospect. When you don't have purpose, relationships don't mean much. They can be in your life or not be in your life. When you don't have purpose, you're disconnected to your children if you have them. When you don't have purpose, you're disconnected, most importantly, to yourself. So the key here is purpose. And if you want to fundamentally change the course of your life, live a life that is meaningful and purposeful, that everything you do, no matter who you meet, no matter what you do, matters. Someone say, I don't know if it matters. Well, it doesn't matter when you don't have purpose. It doesn't matter whether you turn left or right, like the Alice in Wonderland little story goes. Cheshire the cat says, she says, which road do I take when there's a fork in the road? And he responds, well, where are you trying to go? And she says, I don't know. And then he responds back with, then it doesn't matter which road you take. That's a purposeless life. That's the point. That when you live with purpose, you choose the road that fulfills your purpose. That's why it's fundamental to great salesmanship and why it's fundamental to everything you want your life to look like. The joy of your life is found in the purpose and the meaning you put behind it. All right. Number two, fundamentally, you have to have specific goals. Fundamentally, you have to know the objectives. Now, again, the BMW, when I say again, because I've said this before, the BMW is not the purpose of your life. The Mercedes, not the purpose of your life. The Lamborghini that I had, not the purpose of my life. So what is it? It's a goal that allows me to live out the purpose of my life. Now, I have a simple statement. What is the purpose of my life? To be happy. People go, oh, no, well, hold on, there's more. There's more to it. I get that. But in its essence, it's happiness. Happiness, joy. That's the purpose. pursuing a course that allows joy and happiness. But now, how do you create that purpose and that joy, that fulfillment that we all want, that we all yearn for in our quiet moments of even desperation? We yearn for more joy and happiness. How do we get it? We live purposeful, but we use goals as the stepping stone to the achievement of our purpose. See, what seems so purposeful is when I'm standing on the first tee at St. Andrews with my son and my son-in-law, and we're hitting that ball off the first tee. What's purposeful? But see, that takes $750 to play. And so it means that I have to have an economic goal that allows me to live the purposeful relationships and to be able to go where golf was born and experience. And you say, well, that's not my deal. I didn't say that needs to be your deal, but I receive joy and happiness as I watch my sons and son-in-law strike the ball, walking down the fairway, having conversations, bringing meaning to my life. So can you find that? Because the thing is that if you're fixated right now on the destructions and the challenges of the markets, whatever parts we want to look at, well, that's a problem. Because if that's where your focus is, I can promise you it's probably not very meaningful today. But if your life is meaningful and purposeful, then you will do whatever it takes to achieve your goals. So again, number 2, goals. What are your goals? What are the stepping stones to where you're taking your life? Number 2 is still these other components. I like to add this into it. What's your plan and what is your schedule? So if I knew my goals, my plan, and my schedule, what would my life look like? What if it was so purposeful that my goals allowed my purpose, and my purpose knew that I needed these goals achieved to achieve my purpose? Can you see the web that begins to be created? The beauty of that is so powerful. See, I love the fact that if I have a nice car, like I love my Bronco, it's my favorite car I've ever had. People go, oh, come on, really? Favorite ever. Reminds me of my childhood and the purposeful moments of with my dad and the meaningful moments in the desert and four-wheeling. I love the fact that I can drive it around town, and I love it can go everywhere I want it to go. I love the fact of 2 weeks ago, I'm down in Moab with my son and John and his son, and we're climbing out mountains, and we're on the middle of the White Rim Trail. If you've ever gone to Canyonlands National Park, and you're sitting there, and I'm like, oh, and we just sat, I could just feel myself set in and having these deep conversations with Ethan and John and John's son, Jack. I mean, just like, oh, like so meaningful. Well, the goal of achievement of a vehicle, the goal of achievement to have the money to pay for, the goal allowed me to live out my purpose. It's not the purpose of your life to have a Bronco. The purpose of your life is to have experiences and adventures and memories and depth because of the Bronco. And once I get that, all of a sudden my goals even become more meaningful because they let me live out my purpose. But some of us are walking around whining all day about how tough the market is. You can't be purposeful and meaningful in a place of negativity and decline, but you certainly can when you know where you're going because you have a set goal and you know your purpose. Then you wrap it with a plan and some scheduling. All of a sudden, some discipline comes into play, a little bit of a blueprint or a outline for your success, and all of a sudden you're on the pathway to achievement. All of a sudden you're living more fully your purpose. That should be everyone who wants that and gets that. Everyone. But when you get distracted by the noise or the resistance or the fear, all of a sudden you back away from that. 4 other things. I may not spend as much time as I did just on those 2. But number 3, your mindset. You know, if you were at the summit last week, I said things I don't understand. I don't understand agents not working on their mindset, accepting it as it is. I like to look at my mind as you could say an onion that has layers to it. And I peel away those rings, or I add more layers to that onion. And the further and further away I get from my core, which my core would be negativity, my core would be hopelessness, my core would be doubt, my core would be that natural place that we all move to, which is destructive, down. It's depressing, it's hopeless, it's undefined and non. It has no focus, no focus point. It has my history in it, my fears in it, the trauma, the drama. It has all of my past in it. And the further I get away from that, the more beautiful my life is. Hence the reason, the critical component to your success in life is to get serious about protecting and elevating your mindset. It's not enough to just tell me what you're avoiding doing, which is great. Avoid the news, avoid the drama, avoid the distraction and destruction and the murders and the wars. There's nothing you can do about it. People say, oh, I want to be informed. Let me tell you something. If it's important enough, like one of the great leaders that's of our time, he had car dealerships, he served, he blessed lives. A gentleman by the name of M. Russell Ballard passed away today and was just announced. Wow. Okay, you know what? I was told that by someone. Someone told me. I didn't even need to go to the news to see it. Because when it's important enough, someone says something. So here's the deal. You don't need to be entertained. You don't need to watch the news. You don't need to look at the nonsense. What you need to do is you need to protect your mind. So you protect it by not doing certain things, but you elevate it by doing certain things. Meaning you read, you write, you listen, you spend time with the right people, you watch the right stuff, you avoid the wrong stuff so that you can live a life that you're destined to live. That's the key to your long-term success. That's how you live a more purposeful life. You eliminate the fears, the resistance, you eliminate the doubts, you eliminate them because of where you put your focus. You meditate, you visualize, you use gratitude, you do whatever it takes to feel good, to keep this mind sharp, engaged, and there and present. And to do anything different tells me that either you're not serious about your goals and your dreams, just a hobby, it's a hopeful wish, but you're not going to pay the price, although it's worth it in almost every case. So just remember, if you aren't protecting and elevating your mindset daily, that's a problem. That's a fundamental to your success. All right. Number 4. I want to say this one first. Number 4, skill set. What is your skill set? How would you rate yourself as a presenter? Now stop the ego nonsense crap. Come on. Like legit. Are you an exceptional presenter? Do you record your presentations? Do you role play your presentations? Do you review your presentations after you've recorded them? Have you gotten rid of all the ums and the uhs and the delays of scripting? Have you gotten to your script so dialed in, what you're going to say, the skill sets of closing, presenting, negotiating, lead follow-up, prospecting, setting appointments, pre-qualifying? I mean, name them all. There's 12 of them. I'm not going to go through all 12. But are you that good at them? Whenever I meet with a top producing agent who is dialed in with their mindset, purpose, plans, schedule, disciplines are off the chart, systems are in place, the only thing we work on is how to elevate their skill set. So how good are you? See, your skills are one of the quickest ways, if you elevate them, one of the quickest ways to elevating your mindset. But if your skill sets, your ability to sell is subpar, and you go, well, that's not really me. Well, then what are you doing in the game of real estate? Because it's going to get not easier, it's going to get harder. Meaning you need to even be that much more skilled. The reason to you to show up at the morning meetings isn't because, oh, well, if you don't have anything better to do, show up at the meetings. No, it is the most important thing you should be doing. Elevating your mindset, refining your skill sets. And then some of you are like, well, it's just not really me. Why? What is it about that you think you figured out? For 22 years of my life, more than a third of my life and nearly half of it, I have been in morning meetings, and people go, well, yeah, that's just not really me. What part's not you? What part? Getting up early, going to bed on time? What's not you? Mindset, skills, disciplines, more purposeful life? What's not you? Knowing that, like I said last week, those of you who showed up today, how likely are you to prospect? Everyone raise their hand, 100%. Why? Because at 8:15, you're going to be on a phone no later than 8:30. That's what happens when you attend the meetings. That's what happens when you participate. That's what happens when you elevate your mindset, your skill sets. Everything comes into place. Okay, number 5, discipline. Number 5, discipline. How disciplined are you? That's a fundamental to this business. So many we think, oh, well, wait, I'm going to wait for business. That's your strategy? I'm going to hope that it works. Hope? Hope's not a strategy for business. Hope's something you learn about on, these greeting cards. Hope you get well. Hope you have a great Christmas. Hope that you have a happy Thanksgiving. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is a principle of love. It is not a principle of business. Remember that. Stop this nonsense of hoping that things are going to work out. You don't need to hope. You know they'll work out because of number 5, the disciplines you put in place. So you're not living it up to a question mark of hope. I hope I can pay my bills. I hope that I can hope. Come on. You're better than that nonsense. Is that what you fail? Is that what you have gone to, is hoping now? No, that's not a fundamental. It's not in the company plan. Hope we do business. Point number 1. Hope that agents show up. Point number 2. Hope that agents sell real estate. Hope? Are you kidding me? That's not a solution, nor a philosophy, nor a strategy for your business. Get serious about what it takes to be disciplined. Okay, now what I mean by that is 3 core things. Number 1, if you want some subsets, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 after this. Point 5 is discipline. Just 3 points. Know when you're going to prospect, know when you're going to exercise, and know when you're going to practice. Practice, exercise, prospect. Prospect, exercise, practice. Pep up your day. And get all of that done before 12 noon. Practice, exercise, prospect. All of it done before noon. Now, if you want to prospect more in the evenings or an afternoon, knock yourself out. But the strategy of discipline is you get that done before 12 noon. Noon, not 12 a.m., p.m. Get it done before 12 noon. Prospect, exercise, practice, done before 12 noon. And you'll say, well, but George, you don't understand. But George, really, I don't understand. After 30, coming up on 30 years, 29 and a half years in this business, you're telling me I don't understand. I have sat with agents over 60,000 times in coaching sessions in my career. I was the number 1 agent in the state of Utah, 100 plus homes in one of the worst real estate markets we've ever seen back in 08 and 9. I have sold 100 plus homes a year. I have heard every complaint, every problem, every disappointing moment. I have had every angle of it come at me. And when people say, well, yeah, but you don't understand, I'm different. How are you? Are you an alien? How are you different? Are you from another planet? How are you different? You're not any different. I don't care what color of skin you have. I don't care whether you're male, female, transgender. I don't care where you come from. The problems are all the same. They're the same. The problem is discipline. With your practice, your exercise, and your prospecting. You get that done, you win the game, no matter where you're coming from. Doesn't matter. And you will stop moving from, I hope it works out, to it will work out. Because that's what discipline requires of you. The beauty, the absolute awesomeness of difficult markets is it makes you question your approach. Challenging times makes you question your approach to this business. And if you don't question the approach, I mean, have you lost your mind that you're going to focus on recruiting agents as agent attraction, this nonsense I keep seeing out there that aren't even selling real estate, and you're going to provide for your future? Do you know how laughable that is? That is the laughing stock of good business people. Laughing at, you're going to go get agent traction with agents that aren't producing. You're going to go set yourself up for the rest of your life. Funny. You're going to be funny all the way into pure poverty. That's the funniness of the whole thing. My passion towards my statements are because I'm watching people go like east looking for a sunset in the west. Traveling east looking for a sunset that only happens in the west. That's how opposite of the people I'm watching. But hey, be so easily influenced. Be like the squirrels or the dogs on Up, if you've watched that. Squirrel. Anything that distracts you from having to do the fundamentals, you want to pay attention to. That's what all agents do. Hence, there's very few people that make real money. People who make real money. Not, oh, I made enough to pay my bills. Hey, that's great. I've been there. I get it. But that's not a philosophy for your future. If I could just get by, really, that's what it's come to because of your lack of focus on the details of the fundamentals. And number 6, systems and strategies. What is your strategy? But don't let the systems and the strategies be a distraction to you. And what I mean by that, if you're letting the systems and the strategies be a distraction because it seems like it's really fun to work on your system, your administrative process, this system, this strategy, it's great. But I can tell you this, volume always produces the better system and strategy. Why? Why does business volume change the strategy? Because it's either one of two things. When more business equals more pain, you'll fix the strategy, or you'll lessen the amount of business you're doing and you'll self-sabotage. But if you're with your coach and you're with me and you're with this company, the greatest gathering of real estate professionals the world has ever seen, you're not going to sit back and go, oh, well, okay, well, my strategy is great, but I don't have any business to put into it. No, we'll figure out the system once the volume's there. The only system you need to have is how many people are you going to talk to? How many conversations are you going to have? And are you doing them in a way that compels them to work with you? If you can get that one part of the fundamental down, the rest of it will take care of itself. So in recap, purpose, a purposeful life. Number 2, plans, goals, and schedule. Goals, plan, and schedule. Goals, plan, and schedule. Number 3, mindset, a mental capacity of toughness and grit that can wane the tough times, that will be unwavering during the doubts and the frustrations and disappointments. Unwavering. Number 3 or 4, whatever number 1, mindset. I already said mindset. Skill sets, right? Getting all ahead of myself. Then skill sets. Do you know what to say? But more importantly, how to say it. And then not all unimportant, but when. Timing is everything. Discipline always goes hand in hand with desire. You want something, your discipline will match. I look at someone like a Tyler Higgins who just did Low-to-Jock. You know that's from Logan to Jackson Hole. Most people can't drive there. He decided to ride his bike up there, well, on pedals, but he wanted it. So what did he do? His disciplines were off the chart in his disciplines. In fact, there were so many people struggling that he held back with them and crossed the finish line. I'm not going to say with ease, but nowhere near the price, because he made a new commitment that it would be more meaningful, that everyone would make it with him that was in his team. That's bringing discipline and purpose together. You want to talk about being on fire? That becomes an addiction, literally. That's how you win. So when you want to win the game at the highest level, take a step back and ask yourself, have I really figured out the fundamentals? Have I really figured out how to make it work? Have I really figured it out? And if not, plug and play. Show up where I am. Show up where the people in this company are. Someone recently, just Friday, goes, "Oh, I haven't seen you much." Well, I'm like, well, you haven't been where I've been, because I know where I am every day, and I know where I'm going to be every day, and you're not there. And this was the person walking in a big coat and their little hoodie and their little hat, and they were challenging me on my wasn't showing up. I'm like, I'm showing up exactly where I should be. Are you? Just like Woody, not Woody Harrelson. He's the producer. Maybe one of you guys remember. Woody, I can't remember his name. He has glasses. He's a director, but he was famous for this statement. I can't remember his name, but he was famous. He would say, 80% of success is showing up. 80% is showing up. So kudos to you, because you showed up. Think, look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at all the people that aren't showing up. Look at all the people who are like, I'm good. I'm good. Really? Your production, if I was to take some of those people who aren't showing up, isn't seen to be in alignment with showing up. So show up, participate, focus on the fundamentals, and do what's necessary. Guys, this market's for the taking. Every time I turn the corner, someone's like, "Oh, I just put a big deal, just closed on this, just did that." But it will not happen without the fundamentals. You want to win the game? You really want to win it? You really want success? It is deep within the fundamentals. You're not above them. I don't care how long you've been in this business. I don't care how many closings you've done. I don't care how much prospecting you've done. I don't care how many deals you've done. I don't care, who you are or how long you've been in this business. I do not care, because I'm sitting here looking at my own 3 decades, and I'm still practicing. I'm still exercising. I'm still prospecting. I'm still working to become a better version of myself, because fundamentally, growth, remember I said my purpose is to be happy. To be happy. That's my purpose. But the way that I become even happier is I'm free. The way I become happier is I expand. If there's three words I would challenge you to study or invite you to study: freedom, creation, expansion, creation, and happiness. I can promise you something. If you pay attention to those 3 words and what they really mean, it's the fundamental of your life. The pursuit of freedom, the expansion and growth that occurs in it, brings all the happiness in the world. In the end, you don't have to do a thing I tell you. That's for certain. Most of you don't anyway, so that's okay. But I would challenge you. I really would encourage you to give it a try. See if what I'm talking about it really will work. See if I'm wrong. See if everything you want, every goal you've ever wanted to achieve, every purposeful moment you want to have, won't come true if you focus fundamentally on these fundamentals of your mind, your skills, your discipline. If you will make these your priority, and you will pay the price, at the end of the day, I can promise you it's worth it. Okay? Guys, some of you are some of the most consistent people on participation. Keep doing the good things that you're doing. You've got that dialed in. Keep growing, keep becoming, keep creating, keep expanding, keep it up. You're in the right spot. And although at times we think our current circumstances, gosh, is this going to be my future? It won't be. But keep going, keep going. And the requirement of all of this is give your very best. And remember, Jason Carlson's best is not Jeremy's best, and Aubrey's is not Miranda's, and John Aubrey's isn't Michael Brand's. We each have a different level of what our bests are. But can you really look yourself in the mirror and go, man, today, and the rest of this week, I gave my very, very, very best, my best. And if you gave your best, here's what's so cool. This market that we're in, oh, come on. You give your best, nothing's going to stop you. No. because you're going to have the right mindset, skills, and disciplines, living a life that's purposeful, knowing your goals and your objectives, following your plan, having a schedule, instituting a few strategies and systems. Rest is history. You won't miss a beat. You'll be right where you need to be with all of your dreams coming true. Remember, these markets allow you to become a better version of yourself. Instead of being frustrated with the market, be grateful for the market. Instead of being, just beyond compare of anger and frustration with this market, be grateful of who you have to become or choose to become, get to become because of this market. That is a beautiful place to be. So remember, nothing you can't learn in this business, nothing you can't do in this business. And I appreciate all of you. Remember, your best. That's it. That's all you can require of yourself, your best. And I believe that your best is yet to come. Your current circumstances, as rough or tough as they might be today, don't equal your future. And your past, the past, oh, that's not your future. Good or bad, it's not. Because even if it was good, it's going to get better. Even if it's really rough, the past was rough, let's go take the world by storm. Let's stop using words like hope and idolizing the idea that we don't have to work and that things just happen. The alignment of your work ethic, your feelings, your thoughts, and getting them in alignment and being a person who's integrated with truth and honesty, that's the place to be. That's you. That's what you're built to do. Treat yourself that way. Be that way, because that's who you are. In closing, I just want to look at this stuff. Thank you guys for your kind comments. Guys, let's have a absolutely great message. Mark, you're right, compared to 08. Yeah, that is very true, Miranda. Michael, thank you. Rich, thank you. Oh yeah, Woody Allen. Thank you, Michael. Woody Allen said 80% of success is just showing up. All right. So look, let's continue to show up, continue to do the great things you're doing. Guys, my passion, which might border on even anger, frustration, to intensity, it is a combination of all of it. It is because I see in you, every one of you. And even if you were sitting here at my desk, I would be able to sit there and look at you and just realize there's so much more for you. There's so much more ahead for you. But I can promise you that if you're using a poor strategy, you're not going to get what you desire. So you remember, I don't need you to change your goals. I certainly don't need you to change your dreams and the things that make your life purposeful. But just maybe, for some of you, we need to improve upon and we need to change the approach. And if we change the approach and we improve upon it, could maybe all your dreams, your most sacred desires, your greatest ambitions, couldn't they come true? Not from a place of hope, but from a place of absolute assuredness or surety that you will get there. That's the beauty of the whole thing. So go for it. There's some there for the taking. All right, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an extraordinary week. Start strong, finish strong. It's not just about finishing. It's also about starting. Start today, and let's finish this week absolutely on fire. Do what it takes. Be okay with the disappointments. Realize it's just part of the journey. And it's also that's helping you craft the person you're intended to be. All right? Okay, guys. Love all of you. Keep up the great work.